Today, on the 23rd September 2025 in Bali, Indonesia, we gather mark a truly historic milestone in the strategic partnership between Indonesia and European Union. I, together with His Excellency Mr. Maroš Šefčovič, EU Commissioner for Trade and Economic Security, signed a jointly announced the substantive conclusion of the Indonesian-European Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or EU CEPA. The signing served a follow-up to the political agreement of the EU CEPA made by President Prabowo and President Ursula von der Leyen in July 2025. From the first round of negotiation in Brussels, beginning on September 2016 to today in Bali, this is a 10-year journey that has brought up to the milestone that reflect our shared and enduring commitment to an open, fair, sustainable economic partnership through the Indonesian-EU Comprehensive Economic Partnership. This cooperation is collaboration between 723 million from both countries with a value more than 21 trillion. Indonesia trade with EU around 30 billion and Indonesia export around 13 billion. Today event was attended by 21st Ambassador of EU member state together with chief negotiators, senior government officials, and representative of the business community, underscoring the strong collective support to this landmark achievement. The agreement provides concrete benefit for Indonesia, in particular expanding export, securing wider market in the EU, and market liberalization under EU CEPA will cover goods, services, and investment. For goods, both parties has committed to eliminate tariff on more than 98% of the tariff lines and almost 99% of import value. Upon entry into force, Indonesia product will immediately enjoy zero tariff on almost 90% of the EU market, with further tariff reduction in following its phases. Indonesia exports are expected to increase in key commodities such as palm oil, coffee, textile and apparel, fisheries, electronics, footwear and forestry products, including furniture. In addition, EU opens opportunity for Indonesia export of high technology products, including phone and telecommunication. On trade facilitation, both sides look forward to strengthening cooperation to the simplification of export and import procedures and closer collaboration between customs authorities. On the investment side, the EU has long been among the top 5 of investment in Indonesia, with significant contribution in the key sectors such as chemicals, pharmaceutical, services, housing, industrial product, hospitality, trade and repair, as well as the food industry. The EU CEPA will provide greater regulatory certainty, foster technology transfer, and strengthen Indonesia integration into the global supply chain, including the critical minerals. Furthermore, the EU CEPA is a modern, forward-looking agreement, a key innovation in inclusion of a dedicated chapter on the digital trade. This is a pioneering features that align with the global trend and regional initiative, such as ASEAN Digital Economic Framework Agreement. It positions Indonesia to thrive in the digital economy of the future, both in the regional and the global level. With this EU CEPA comprehensive features in place, Indonesia export to the EU are expected to rise 2.5 times in the next 5 years of implementations. This growth will be accompanied by increased welfare amount around $2.8 billion. More than 5 million workers in Indonesia will positively impacted by the implementation of EU CEPA. The implementation of the EU-CEPA is aligned with Indonesia economic policy package. Indonesia just recently announced the economic package that is 17th package designed to boost the employment, ensuring that trade and investment cooperation contributes to the inclusive growth, in particular in workforce absorption, skill development that benefit both industry, also wider workforce and the society. In addition, why the meeting conducted in Bali, because it's a symbol that we would like to promote the tourism sectors as well as the labor intensive. And we both here is as preparation for our leader coming to Indonesia, that I report to President Prabowo before he left to New York, that we are preparing a milestone that once this signed, I think we would like to see both presidents to meet again in Indonesia. Thank you very much. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Minister Airlangga. I also would like to acknowledge the presence and thanks for the tireless work to our ambassador, Danny and Andri, and both of our chief negotiators, Johnny and Fabian, because they indeed did a great job. And to you, Minister Airlangga, if I may, I really would like to thank you for your leadership, the warm welcome, and excellent collaboration that made today's milestone event possible. As Minister was referring to, we have reached a historic breakthrough with the conclusion of the EU-Indonesia Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which I believe is a true game changer for both our economies and partnership. Trade between the EU and Indonesia is already solid. As Minister Airlangga has said, goods trade exceeded 27 billion euros, with Indonesia maintaining a goods trade surplus. Meanwhile, the EU holds the lead in services trade, which added nearly 9 billion euros. European investment in Indonesia tops 25 billion euros, underscoring growing confidence and opportunity. Yet Indonesia is only the European Union's 5th largest ASEAN trade partner. That means there is the huge untapped potential, which was confirmed to me by the representatives and CEOs of the businesses with whom we met in the morning in the event organized by Eurochambers. I think what is very important for them, but which is very important for the population of both Indonesia and European Union, it's important to underscore that this agreement eliminates over 98% of tariffs, removing nearly all barriers to trade and opening new pathways for investment. Key sectors on both sides will benefit from palm oil, textile and footwear in Indonesia to agri-food, automotive and chemical industries in the European Union. Importantly, the agreement was crafted with full respect for each side's priorities and sensitivities, ensuring a balanced outcome. For example, Indonesia's 15% import tariff on cars will be gradually eliminated over 5 years, opening the door for the EU automotive exports while fostering much sought EU investment in electric vehicles, among others. EU exporters alone will stand to save more than 600 million euros in customs duties on goods shipped to Indonesia, funds that can be reinvested into innovation, expansion and job creation. Importantly, the CEPA paves the way for closer cooperation in cutting-edge sectors like electric cars, pharmaceuticals and electronics, crucial for future of both of our economies. The CEPA also helps secure critical raw materials for green and digital tech, encourages renewable energy investments and upholds strong environmental and labor standards. Plus, it facilitates digital trade, especially helping small and medium businesses. All in all, in a world of rising protectionism and fragile supply chains, when many turn inward, the CEPA sends a strong signal that the EU and Indonesia are choosing openness and partnership to boost their competitiveness, create jobs, and strengthen resilience. Moreover, today's agreement goes beyond economics. Indonesia is a key partner for the EU in the Indo-Pacific region, and this opens the door to closer political ties and strategic cooperation as well. I'm also convinced that this partnership will strengthen people-to-people ties. Indonesia is already among the top 12 countries with the highest number of postgraduate students in the European Union, around 4,000 in total, with approximately 300 Indonesian students already participating in the Erasmus exchange program each year. We are also advancing the 1,000 Green Engineers initiative, which will further connect our cooperation through shared innovation and shared learning. To conclude, both Indonesia and EU stand to gain and grow through this new chapter, and for that I really once again would like to thank Minister Langga.
Thank you. Thank you. Ada pertanyaan, Pak? Ya, silakan. 1, 2, 3. Ya, 3 dulu. Silakan. Mic-nya. Kalah mic 1 duluan. Mbak, kasih saya Pak. Ya, silakan. Udah, langsung aja Mbak. Lanjut. We take 3 questions before we answer.
Okay, please.
Okay. Silakan yang kedua.
Pak, selamat pagi Pak Menteri. Saya Sultan dari kantor berita Reuters. Ada 2 pertanyaan untuk Pak Menteri. Yang pertama Pak, dari kerjasama ini penegasan saja Pak. Jadi barang apa saja yang atau produk apa aja yang bebas tarif dari Eropa ke Indonesia, termasuk di situ apakah produk manufakturnya juga, pertanian, termasuk alkohol di situ. Terus yang kedua Pak, dari kerjasama ekonomi ini Pak ke depan, apa langkah Indonesia? Apakah akan banyak mengekspor atau sebaliknya Pak? Terima kasih.
Okay, please not asking this.
I think this question I will leave for the minister to answer.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
My Indonesian is not so fluent.
Don't worry. Okay. Satu lagi, silakan Mbak di belakang. Tadi. Oh, ganti. Ya, silakan.
Makasih Pak. Saya dari Bisnis Indonesia. Pertanyaan saya, peluang UMKM setelah perjanjian ini untuk ekspor ke Uni Eropa seperti apa Pak? Peluangnya untuk UMKM itu aja.
Okay. I think you asked the first. You answered the first question.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was lady from Business Times. Yeah. So I'm, as I said, very thrilled to be here with Minister Langga to sign this historic CEPA agreement. Also because the Indonesia is biggest from the region. If I compare the trade developments with countries with whom we already have such agreements signed, like for example with Vietnam, we see what kind of big boost to the trade it created and what kind of growth it unlocked. And I know that Indonesia is bigger than Vietnam, Philippines and Thailand together, so I can only project from the size of the market, from the growth potential of Indonesia, how this, in positive sense, affect our mutual trade. We, of course, are doing our utmost to strengthen the partnership with the whole region. So tomorrow we are flying for the ministerial meeting of the ASEAN trade ministers, and I'm very happy and honored that I got an invitation to the meeting as well. So we'll pursue our meetings with the partners there, with countries with whom we are currently in the negotiations. So the most advanced discussion we have with the Philippines and Thailand. We are doing also big steps with Malaysia. So these are the three countries who are also very much interested in having FTA with us. But looking at the agreement we concluded today, this is the most modern we have with the region. It has very strong digital chapters, so we are making everything possible for our business leaders to make it easier for them to respect e-signature, e-invoicing, e-authentication. So we're kind of moving it from the customs paper to the full digital system of cooperation, which I think would really bring a lot of positive benefits for the business leaders. What needs to be done now? I'm glad that we managed to conclude everything today, because now we'll start the ratification procedures on the both sides. For us, it means that we need to get the support from our member states, which I'm sure we'll get, and you have seen that all EU ambassadors accredited to Indonesia have been here, took part in the ceremony. We will have now the working sessions with them, and I know that there is a strong support for this agreement also with the European Parliament. So we need to do legal scrapping, translation into our official languages, but we do our utmost to make sure that our business leaders could benefit from this agreement as quickly as possible, and therefore we have very ambitious days of the 1st of January 2027. And I know that Minister Airlangga also wants to look at the areas where we can have so-called early harvest, so what we can do even before this agreement is implemented. On our EU-US relationship, I think we went through the negotiating process with our American partners, something what our Indonesian colleague did as well. So it resulted in an agreement expressed in the form of a joint statement, which will be gradually applying. But I think that there will be also other sectors where we would need additional negotiations with our American partners. So we very much welcome that first part of our negotiations, which brought the concrete results, and we will continue, because it's our biggest trading partner, strategic ally, and therefore I'm glad that we found a way how to talk to each other as a partners, as allies, and I believe that this new form of talking to each other with the new US administration will also bring us positive results.
Thank you. I think your question is answered. So please allow me to answer in Bahasa.
Yes, please.
So untuk teman-teman, implementasi dari perjanjian ini tentu memerlukan ratifikasi dari dua parlemen, Parlemen Indonesia dan Parlemen EU. Dan untuk EU, perjanjian yang telah ditandatangani ini diperlukan untuk diterjemahkan dalam 27 bahasa. Nah, dari situ baru diproses di parlemennya, dan kami menargetkan efektif perjanjian ini berlaku 1 Januari 2027. Namun tadi kami bersepakat bahwa kita punya early harvest program yang akan kita dorong untuk bisa berjalan. Nah, salah satunya tadi yang terkait dengan UMKM, kita akan mendorong memudahkan UMKM dua pihak. Karena UMKM kita sekarang andalannya adalah kopi, kakao, kemudian produk-produk small and medium enterprise yang mereka sebelum ini merasa bahwa birokrasinya ketat sekali. Namun dengan EU CEPA ini diharapkan kita akan memberikan semacam window atau guidance bagaimana mereka bisa mengekspor secara lebih mudah. Jadi kami bersepakat dari pihak Indonesia dan EU untuk memfasilitasi small and medium enterprise, UMKM kita. Dan yang tadi pertanyaan terkait dengan produk apa saja, produknya keseluruhan produk, dan Indonesia mengutamakan yang berbasis labor intensif, yang sekarang pekerjanya ada 5 juta. Jadi itu tekstil, produk tekstil, apparel, makanan minuman, furniture. Namun tidak menutup produk yang nilai tambah tinggi, termasuk critical mineral. Critical mineral sekarang kita juga sudah mengerjasamakan dengan investor dari Eropa, dan juga sedang berbicara mengenai kerjasama dengan otomotif Eropa terkait dengan critical mineral, termasuk baterai. Dan tentu salah satu yang Eropa berkepentingan dan minat di industri otomotif, termasuk untuk mensupply ataupun mengembangkan elektronik EV vehicle di Indonesia. Untuk agriculture product seperti tadi, Eropa butuh palm oil, dan itu yang kita akan supply. Dan Indonesia butuh padat modal, teknologi, kemudian juga inovasi dan industri yang berbasis value chain yang critical mineral, renewable energy, demikian pula juga dengan automotive sectors. Baik, anything more question? Nanti kita akan bahas seluruhnya, karena alkohol kita mekanismenya adalah pengenaan cukai. Ya, silakan. Please.
Terima kasih, Pak. When it comes to the implementation and meeting of standards, George Mattis from DW. When it comes to the meeting of standards, how optimistic or how much help can Indonesian enterprises expect from the Indonesian state that they will actually meet those European standards? And a question for the Commissioner, if I may. The environmental standards were one of the key sticking points that delayed negotiations, took now up to 10 years. Have those points been resolved, for instance, when it comes to palm oil? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to say that we have a very comprehensive agreement, which is also covering the labor standards, environmental standards, our mutual commitment to the sustainability, and they are very much and in great detail covered into the trade agreement. And we know that, as we discussed with the minister, that very often the big multinationals are quite well prepared right now. But what we need to be developed further is some kind of concrete assistance we can provide to SMEs who are important, as for Indonesia as well as for the European Union, because we have already 15,000 SMEs, which is, for example, exporting to Indonesia, and I know the number from Indonesia side is much bigger. So this is a continued cooperation. We found a very good solution in our agreement, and we will further cooperate in that regard.
Yeah, I think as regard to standard, usually a technical standard, we have mutual recognition arrangement for standard. It depends on product, especially for the agriculture product like CPO. We have in Europe, RSPO, ISPO in Indonesia, and we have also for the timber like SVLK, and for other technical is very straightforward. I think automotive, they have their own standard, and every standard is comply with each other. That's why I think our goods are export to most 70 countries. Okay, one more? Clear? Terakhir, ya.
Terima kasih Pak dari Media Indonesia. Terkait soal EUDR, apakah ada yang ini tidak lagi menjadi ancaman bagi Indonesia atau seperti apa?
Jadi terkait dengan EUDR kita akan difasilitasi, karena pertama kita bicara mengenai EU CEPA. Jadi EU CEPA yang ditargetkan bisa selesai, dan yang lain tentu dengan adanya EU CEPA ini menjadi platform yang untuk memperkuat seluruh produk Indonesia. Terima kasih. Thank you.